bring back special editions. Asterisk. Bring back special editions. Asterisk. There's an asterisk in the title, but we'll get to that. What am I even talking about? Why bring back special editions? Well, I was watching my favorite film of all time recently. What is my favorite film? I'm a 43-year-old white North American male, which means I was 17 years old in 1999. What's my favorite film? The Matrix. Yes, of course. Nothing else comes close. So I was watching Neo slowly awaken from his hacker nap and become the one, and I reflected on how well this film still holds up, both thematically and visually. The effects are such a wonderful mix of imagination, style, and practical engineering, all enhancing the storytelling. You have timeless shots like this, or this, or this. After taking in this undisputed masterpiece, I was left with a question. Do I keep going and watch the sequels? Now, normally... No. But it had been a while, at least 8 or so years since I'd seen any of them, so...
I don't know how many years on this earth I got left. I'm gonna get real weird with it.
And I watched them. And wow, do they not hold up.
You do not truly know someone until you fight them.
My name is Sati.
Yeah. I believe.
You remain irrevocably, concordantly, ergo, vis-a-vis, apropos.
Exactly what I needed to hear.
For now.
Like the original Matrix, the sequels are an ambitious blend of practical and digital effects, but the CGI was used a lot more and to much weaker effect, in my opinion. For example, in the first Matrix, Morpheus jumps from one building to another, flying through the air. This effect was done practically and completely tricks my brain and engrosses me in the storytelling.
Whoa.
In the sequels, you have an agent leap through the air and land hard on a moving car, and the resulting shot, in my opinion, does not come close to tricking my brain. What I'm seeing is a clear piece of animation with little physical inertia. You don't feel the weight of this agent. All I notice is his rubbery face and his Gumby-like body flapping around. Look, I can forgive some things, like how everyone in this sequence has the aim of a drunken stormtrooper, the massive overuse of slow-mo, and the ridiculous design of these two clowns. Actually, maybe I can't forgive those things.
We are getting aggravated.
But these CGI animated shots completely pull me out of the story, like an atrophied sticky ball being unplugged from the Matrix itself. The illusion is broken, the magic is lost, and the story becomes silly. Seeing wax figure Neo fight rubber Agent Smith is just not as engrossing.
Is it over?
And so I propose, make the Matrix sequel special editions. Hire some visual effects animators to take a handful of these shots, all the really cringy ones, and improve them to make the visuals more believable and more immersive and better aid in the storytelling. There are plenty of talented visual effects animators online that take these types of shots and remake them. And in some cases, they've done it in a single day. Take, for example, another one of my favorite films from the 90s, The Fifth Element. Absolutely incredible visual effects, physical and digital blending beautifully to create an entertaining vision of the future. But one shot stands out badly.
That's better.
Oof. Compared to the physical presence of the other creatures in the same shot, this digital one looks like a PlayStation 2 NPC. Hire a VFX artist, fix this horrible shot, and bam! Fifth Element, the special edition. You could maybe add some more detail to these digital establishing shots too. The goal wouldn't be to add anything noticeably new, but to clean up and enhance what's already there. But who would watch the results? And more importantly, who would pay for the work? Well, like it or not, the current and future media landscape is streaming. But what I find interesting is some of the best performing content on streaming is legacy content. What was Netflix's most streamed show of 2024? Surely an original like Squid Game or Stranger Things, right? Nope. It was Grey's Anatomy. And their second most streamed show? NCIS. And their third? young Sheldon. Okay, you get the point. People often stream what's familiar to them. One of the reasons I've seen The Fifth Element so many times is because it's often been available on Netflix here in Canada. And if I saw a special edition next to that title, all the more reason to throw it on again. Adding a fresh coat of paint to some of this legacy content feels like a much smarter investment to me than spending hundreds of millions of dollars on streaming films that are little seen and universally disliked, the perpetual C+ of modern entertainment. I would much rather see something of higher quality that's been refreshed and renewed. I want a special edition of The Mummy Returns that fixes that rock scorpion fiasco. I want a special edition of Forrest Gump that fixes the South Park mouths of JFK and John Lennon. Someone needs to fix this weird line that appears over Picard's face in the opening of Star Trek First Contact. Tron Legacy has the best soundtrack of all time and the worst de-aging. Fix it. Revamp these terrible shots in Guillermo del Toro's otherwise badass Blade 2. The plane crash at the end of Air Force One. The crocodiles in Schwarzenegger's Eraser. The wolves in The Day After Tomorrow. The Dark Seekers throughout I Am Legend. The entire ending of Black Panther. I want a special edition of As Good As It Gets that mines the nostrils of Jack Nicholson. Fuck! Fix them all!
Your luggage.
In the past, special editions were something to get excited about, like with Star Trek The Motion Picture, where they went in and fixed actual incomplete shots. There was a special edition DVD of Memento where you could watch the film in chronological order. Netflix extended The Hateful Eight from a film to a limited series for Tarantino. Warner Brothers released a black and chrome version of Fury Road. I don't know why, but they did, and people were into it. But it's time to talk about the asterisk. The giant, sweaty Jabba in the room.
I know that laugh.
The Star Wars Special Editions.
But if you've only seen it this way, you haven't seen it at all.
Now, the Star Wars Trilogy, Special Edition.
Arguably what both elevated and completely killed the idea of special editions. After the release of films like Terminator 2 and Jurassic Park, it felt like CGI was the coolest you had ever seen. Out with the old, this is the new, and the inclusion of CG effects was something to be advertised, unlike now where everyone claims they don't use it. People were excited about CG, and that reached a fever pitch when George Lucas decided to take another crack at his original trilogy. The Star Wars Special Editions were, for me at the time, awesome. There were new shots of the ships, new explosions, and it was incredible to see this stuff on a big screen for the first time. When those golden VHS tapes were released, I watched the shit out of them. But that's when I started to notice the other changes, the little differences between my original VHS releases and these new ones. And they started to add up. One of my favorite moments from Empire is when R2 falls into the swamp and then gets spit out by some unseen monster. The original line that Luke says is,
"You're lucky you don't taste very good."
It's a funny, memorable line. It's great. In the special edition, it was replaced with,
"You were lucky to get out of there."
Why? How is that special edition? Then there's the more glaring stuff like Han shooting first, the young Anakin Force Ghost despite successfully reaching old age, and this abomination. But all of it, and I do mean all of it, is fine. George Lucas has the money and the agency and the right to make whatever changes he wants. But, asterisk, keep the original versions available. You can special edition up whatever you want. Change, enhance, upgrade, whatever. But keep those original versions available to the public because they have their fans. The Oscar-winning visual effects in the first Star Wars have mostly been replaced, never to officially be seen again. I don't think people hate on the special editions just because of all this weird shit that they added. It's mostly because the original versions seen in the 70s and 80s in the theater, those are gone. Considering all of the original footage from the trilogy had to be scanned and restored to make the special editions anyway, it stands to reason it would have been fairly simple to release them on physical media later without the new effects added. You could have called them the classic editions and released both, and not doing that, I think, was leaving money on the table. Thankfully, there's a host of Star Wars fans that have devoted a ton of time and a lot of money into preserving the original Star Wars trilogy. And you can watch them all in 4K if you know where to look.
Can you watch OG Star Wars somewhere?
Yeah, my house.
No, I was just remembering I have to go have a heart surgery.
So I think they should bring back special editions, but always keep the originals available. When a special edition of E.T. was released that replaced guns with walkie-talkies and puppet E.T. with a really terrible CGI version, Spielberg very wisely put the original version on the same release, though cleaned up and remastered. When they redid the effects for the original Star Trek TV series, they put the untouched episodes on the same discs. The theatrical cut of Blade Runner still has its fans, oddly, and that release has always been made available along with the director's cut and final cut. People like classics. People like new. People like choice. People hate rock eyebrow Scorpion Man. So I think we should bring back special editions, bigger and better than ever. And while we're at it, why not one more crack at Jabba the Hutt?
Hi, my boy.
I'm a bookie. Jabba, you're a wonderful human being.
Even I get bored sometimes. Do you think I had a choice?
You can tell that to Jabba. He may only take your ship.
For my dead body.
That's the idea. I've been looking forward to doing this for a long time.
Yes, I bet you have.
I warned you.